Back in the workshop. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's you can see it on the video, but as you can see, we have quite the oil stain here, and the excavator was standing with the bucket on the other side, so the hydraulic tank was over this area. And yeah, so my service has, let's see if we can get some light here. The service I made, changing the filters, seemed to have somehow created a leakage in the tank. So I'm not sure right now what I'm going to do. I had to feed my kids, so I just put this in the workshop and put some absorbent on the ground, but I think I need to figure out where the drain plug is and drain the hydraulic tank and figure out what's causing the leak. This might be the end of this excavator, I don't know. I knew from the beginning that this was probably the worst thing that could happen to this machine. And yeah, so right now I don't know actually how I'm going to drain it. I don't know where the drain plug is, I don't know anything, and I don't know what to do. Now that we have, when we need to get this drained, and we need to remove it, so we can either find another one to exchange this, or we could repair it. I'm definitely hoping that we can find another one and that it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. But I mean, this is not that good, I think. But the upside is that doing this means that we can get rid of this wall. So let's get started. Seeing that this might be the end of the line for this excavator, before I drain the hydraulic tank, I rigged this up so that chain will prevent the blade from lowering. Yeah, so hopefully this means that it's possible to move this if we need to. For draining the hydraulic tank, this is not the best. It's probably the best to turn the excavator like 90 degrees or something, so you can put a drain pan here in between. But then we would be in serious trouble if this is end of line for this machine. Yeah, so it seems to be leaking from what I believe to be the return line to the tank. So I can't really see everything. I need to watch the video to see this. I've been going over the options, and we have a drain plug here below the tank, but we have a height issue. And the other option I see is, here we have the tank and we have this tube going suction pipe and hoses to the two pumps. So we could detach this hose here, but that would make 60 liters of oil coming this way, and we still have a kind of a height issue with the jugs I have. So I'm thinking we're going to try a third option. Third option is using this one. I don't know, this is quite old, it might be not functioning. Say 40 of the 60 liters this way, we're better off when we remove the hose on the primary pump. So hopefully this works. Now it's running. Fixed the leak, added some length to it, and now we have a slow but even flow. So now we're draining. This is the suction hose of the main pump. I've been going around this machine now, and I will call a heavy equipment scrap yard and see if there's any possibility to get a hold of a hydraulic tank for this machine, or pretty much any other machine of this size. I can make some custom mounts. That doesn't matter. The mounts for this is probably all rusted up anyway, but if there's no easy way, I'm not going to put in that much more time on this. I already spent too much money and too much time on this machine. So I'm quite certain that I'm going to auction off this machine. I might keep the bucket. It's a really, I like the bucket. It has good teeth, and okay, that's loose, but it's got a good geometry, so I might keep that one. And I welded the hook on it, so it's worth twice as much now. I don't know, or I'll just drag it out of here and park it somewhere for a later date. But it kind of sucks because I really needed to do some digging. I'm going to dismount the share, and I'm going to dismount the metal plate construction that's under the share, so I can cut away the damaged, rusted out bolts for the middle wall and then reach the tank. And the idea is that I will try to get the tank freed so I can turn it around and see what's actually leaking. Maybe it's something that could be fixed, maybe it's something I need to, and maybe I need to replace the whole tank. I don't know, but I'm going to try to figure out. It's completely gone down here. I mean, that's going to not exist quite soon. So the idea here is I've measured from here to here, and I'm going to try to remove this piece, and then I will cut it on a specific height, and I will put in some new material. But this wall needs to be unbolted in here, so and it has some bolts that's I think might be possible to get loosened, but if I can get rid of all this, I will just use an angle grinder and cut those bolts, because this wall is going away. Then when the wall is removed, I can reach these positions better, I hope. I will start to tear apart share and some other stuff and try to reach the wall. I mean, if we're looking down here, we see quite heavy corrosion on the tank, but I don't know if it's a problem or it's just on the outside. Yeah, so when I bought this, we had the heater was here for the cab, but since I removed the cab and I wanted to do some inspection, and I greased some joints down here for the levers, I removed it completely since I don't have any cab anymore. That's better. Woohoo! Oh. So, small difference here is that on the right hand side, this lever is actually mounted on this piece. So I disconnected that. I didn't see that, so I disconnected the linkage inside exactly the same way I did on this side, and of course I dropped the pin, so it's down here in the bottom somewhere. And I didn't even have to do it because the security lever was mounted on this one. So what we got here on both sides now are just the rod ends for the linkage down to the valve body, and these are not great. I knew that, but maybe if they're if I can buy 4 of these and not lose an arm or a leg, I might change these as well. This control has been a bit sticky, and I've been under the impression or idea or wrongful thinking that it would be the wire, but I don't think it is. I think it's actually this piece. I just dropped some oil on it and it feels slightly better already, but now if I'm going to tear this apart, I will try to get this pin out and disassemble this and maybe get it all greased up again. But I need to remove the wire and the, see if we can have some light here. I need to remove the wire up here, and we need to remove it here because all this is screwed on to this plate. But that means I don't have to remove this control, this lever right now, because it can follow this as a whole out. So that was easy, as many of these things, many of the bolts and nuts, and they're not stuck. So whatever happened to this machine, it happened on the outside of everything. It hasn't seeped through the threads of the bolts and gotten into everywhere. Yep. This is not nice. Yeah. That's not going to get. So we're left with what? Sawzall, torch, ha! Amazing! So I don't know what these sizes were from the beginning, but I got this loose with a 12 millimeter hex socket, and this with a 14 millimeter hex socket. I think everything is unhooked, unscrewed and detached. So no, this one needs, this knob needs to go down that hole. But other than that, I think we're going to be able to remove this now. So those are and that knob went down there. So this is what we're looking for. Yeah, we have some repairs to do on the way, and this connector needs to some rework. But why we removed everything is to get to these bolts and get them loosened. Yep. Woohoo! Amazing. Can't do that too much because using the impact on this machine makes it look like a tree in a cartoon that drops all leaves. Okay. The bracket isn't connected to the tank anymore. So I'm starting to think that maybe removing this tank is more about disconnecting the hoses. Oh. Yeah. There's a couple of lines we need to disconnect, and I'm guessing this one is one of them, and there's another one I haven't figured out really where it starts. But I think actually the tank, it's so rusted out, so we're just going to pry it off its mounts. So now I think I'm going to focus on tearing the wall down so we can get to this side of the tank. And last time I was working on the wall, I have a nut here, I'm not getting rid of that, and I have two here which are stuck. So I need to bring out the angle grinder and try to cut those away. Not the best position possible. That's not helping. So I upgraded from the battery to the largest angle grinder in the shop, and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut these from behind this wall, through the wall. Hopefully that works. It doesn't. That didn't work. But maybe. More room. Almost. Still better than I could have imagined. I don't know. I was pretty sure. Okay, here it's leaking. But somehow this is still better than I expected. Let's see if we can pry this loose and get it out of here. Okay, so this one is pretty loose. So the mounting bracket on this side might be still working. Maybe I need to figure out how to disconnect the hose. There's a smaller hose here, but that has a lot of flex, so I don't think we need to do anything about that until we actually have everything else loosened. I think they probably mounted the tank first. This one needs to get on off. I think this is a drain plug, but and this one didn't have a hose clamp, it had fallen off, and this one has a pretty substantial hole. So there's no doubt about where the leakage was coming from. It's looking at this, it's more how I might have caused it to be worse now, but anyway, amazing. So let's see if we can wiggle this out. Too short. Amazing. Finally we got the tank out. Really happy about that. Now I'm going to do quite a lot of cleaning up here, trying to dig out all the shit that's down here, and yeah, get a better assessment of what we need to repair and what we can skip. I'm not going to renovate this machine back into its original shape, but I would like to get it running again, because apart from the hydraulic tank leaking now and the rust, it actually works. Last drops of blood here. Almost back together. No, I just put the pieces back where they sort of belong. I have to give up on this one for now. I need to focus on some other stuff, and I need to get the space back. So I'm pretty much going to just drag this out of here. So I got this chained up, so yeah, it's not supposed to be any problem now, just dragging it out.